Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're going to talk about Veru, and the stock is doing super well. It is at $15.60, up 15.5%, and the after hours even got over $16 to $16.17, which is very, very impressive. The market looks like it's finally taken notice of the stock, and that's super good because it means its potential can start to be realized, which means some big things are going to be coming your way, assuming the good news continues. And the good news is basically here. We have one of the analysts from Oppenheimer saying that the COVID treatment could be granted by the third quarter, which is basically it's saying basically this could happen in a few months' time or less. So indication seems like it's going to happen around July. But sometimes these things can take a little longer. No one really knows how long the FDA is going to take on this. So best kind of guess would be like within a 2-3 month kind of period. At least what this analyst is seeing, and that's the kind of feeling I got from the conference call. But these things no one can really tell. Only the FDA really knows. The analyst Oppenheimer's Leland Gershel. He's come out and he said he expects it to be granted by early fall, which is in the third quarter. And he's talked about that the company is scaling up manufacturing so that by September it will be able to cater to around 250,000 patients a month. While there's also ongoing talks with BARDA and other government agencies around the world. So they did talk about this in the conference call, that they were in discussion with advanced purchase agreements, and that's super positive. First, we've got an analyst that basically isn't talking around if they will get approval. It is now when they will get approval, and we have the company talking with outside government agencies as well, as well as the US government agencies as well. So there's a lot of confidence this is going to be approved, and they're already talking about agreements for purchases. So that's super positive. And then we have this analyst kind of at pricing as well. So that's kind of the next level in terms of what we're talking about. That we're looking way past approval. Now we're talking about the pricing of the COVID drug itself. So in terms of so here we go. In turn, the analyst went on to say, we expect Veru to begin realizing transformative levels of revenue. And so that wording is so nice, like transformative levels of revenue. Like we're talking about this company that's worth $1.249 billion, just over $1 billion. So, and then we're looking at some super nice revenues, which we'll read on after this. So what sort of levels are we talking about? Going by the lowest average US hospitalization rate year to date, treating only 10% of those admitted for COVID-19 at a price similar to a 10-day remdesivir course, which is $4,700, would generate annual sales of roughly $250 million. So if this company that is valued around $1.249 billion generated $250 million, that would be super good. Like, you got to remember that the drugs that these companies produce are super cheap. So it filters to the bottom line in a great way. So if they made like 250 million in sales, as much as like 200 million could be, pure profit. So that itself is pretty amazing. But just hang on here. We have Gershel coming in and going, however, notes Gershel, Veru has indicated much more robust pricing of $36,000 for an average course of 10 to 12 days of sabizilin, which by our maths would imply a $1.8 billion a year. So yeah, imagine that, because they know what they have. They know they have a life-saving drug that potentially, if they can actually save a life and also save basically a patient staying in a hospital too long, then basically there's extra costs, and they're going to value it based on that kind of view, rather than how much it costs them to make, and then they're just trying to make an extra profit on top of that. They are being quite ambitious, possibly being quite ambitious at their pricing. No one actually knows. They actually just have a group looking at the pricing right now. So what this analyst says is actually quite speculative. So it's an estimate anyway, but we have him going, potentially the revenue numbers could be between $250 million to $1.8 billion, which is super, super good. Like, if they got as much as $1.8 billion and their market cap is $1.249 billion, there is extreme upside for the stock if they can get that much. Like, even if they got like half of that, like close to $1 billion, and we look at a company earning several hundred million, they would be minimally worth probably at least several $1 billion. Never mind this 1.24, you know. So that's the positive kind of outlook that we're looking at here. And Gershel thinks basically his price target stands at $36, and the current pricing is at $15.60. So he thinks in the next 12 months, the pricing of the stock should at least be double what it is right now. And, you know, that's probably quite conservative in my view, because if they can actually do as much as $1.8 billion in revenue, that is super, super good for the company. So there you have it, the numbers. They potentially, if they were charging as low as their competition, they could net as much as $250 million. But if they were being very ambitious, they could net as much as $1.8 billion. So, you know, that's the potential you're looking at regarding this stock here. So overall, really, really positive. Like, great things are coming to the stock if they get this approval and they can start inking these contracts, getting their manufacturing ramped up and selling their Sabizilin COVID treatment. Then things are going to look very, very bright, and I think the market has taken notice, and the market is super excited about this stock. Like, the volume traded was about 15 million shares, which is above the average trading, which is usually 22 million. So we have a lot of people actually jumping in that are probably quite new to the stock and they're wanting to get in. And also there's generally quite a lot of traders and shorters in the stock as well, which doesn't make it an ideal kind of situation if news gets ever turns negative. But right now, with the positive news pushing the momentum of the stock, it is doing super, super well. And let's hope the momentum continues on, because, you know, like, you want the value of the stock to be recognized. Obviously earlier the better, but of course at $15.60, even if it was holding around this zone for a little bit of time, it's not too bad. Like, at the most important milestone of all is this approval. And when this approval comes through, that's when the full value of the stock is going to be more or less recognized, because that's when they start selling and that's when they start recognizing revenues. So that's the thing. Like, you always have this difficult decision of whether you should hold or sell, because obviously the stock is up a fair bit since last week, and you're always going to be profit takers. The stock's going to be quite volatile, so that's always the consideration. Do you hold? Do you buy? Do you sell? You know, and I think that's the good thing about this kind of pricing is you have the luxury of choice, whether you want to take some profit, and if you are on a lot of profit, potentially you might want to take some off the table. It just depends on the risks that you can handle. But if you definitely can handle the risk, then it's definitely worth holding on for when they get approval, or when the pricing actually continues to go higher. Like, the stock is it is just doing really well at the moment, and hopefully the market holds up as well. The market itself is doing really well, so it kind of helps the stock. If the market overall has a bad day, then it can generally drag even good stocks down. So that's the kind of thing as well, because when it's having a bad day, people want cash. When it's having a good day, everyone wants to buy stocks again. But overall, to kind of have numbers in terms of revenues, in terms of like put out by analysts, it's starting to look very, very bright, and it's looking actually pretty good in terms of the progress of this company, regardless of what some of the shorters are actually putting out. So overall, hopefully things do continue. But if the stock continues to head too much higher, then I probably say do consider taking some profit, because nothing in this world is ever guaranteed except the profit that you take, of course. So that probably is something that you want to consider while the stock is up. Whether it's something that you want to continue holding on to, or it's it's never a complete sell everything or buy everything kind of decision. It should just be sometimes you just reduce your position because it's gone up so much. So you can always have price targets. So like if you go, oh, if this stock reaches $18 or $20, then I sell a certain amount, then that kind of is a good amount of risk taking. But if you don't have like a very large stake in this company, potentially you just want to ride it out to basically when they get approval, and then hope that the stock will continue to kind of go up multiples. And that's always an option as well. I just want to make sure I talk about that, because I think generally when you're investing, you kind of feel like everything should be an absolute decision. It doesn't really have to be like that. Nothing in life has to be absolute, because you can always everything has compromise, right? You meet halfway. It's kind of like if you own a stock, you can always sell half of it, or you can always sell a quarter of it. You don't always have to sell 100% of it. So that's the kind of consideration you want to take, particularly with these type of stocks where the risks can be higher than usual. And of course the potential's there as well. It's always nice to think that, hey, what if the stock reached these levels and those levels? But I think I've been investing long enough to know that, hey, taking profit is possibly a good thing as well, particularly since nothing is guaranteed. Like until they get approval from the FDA, anything could happen in between the next couple of months as well. The stock could go down, it could go up, go down, go up. It's always a wild and rough ride sometimes. But fingers crossed that it's going to just be smooth sailing all the way up. And then we'll just see how that goes. Until next time, good luck investing, everyone.